And thank you very much for tuning in to the EFF Gender-Based Violence Help Desk series. I'm your host, Poppy Mailola, the Deputy Secretary General of EFF. Today on our show, we will be discussing a very challenging issue that we are faced with in our communities, which is domestic violence. Domestic violence is a threat to many South African women in South Africa. Over 21% of women in South Africa are experiencing domestic violence. It is also known as intimate violence, interdependable in a long-term relationship in families. That is why domestic violence affects each and every one. Domestic violence is also known. Domestic violence can take various forms, including emotional, sexual, psychological, and physical pain. Today in our panel of discussion, we've got different women from all different walks of life who are here today and are willing to break the silence and are prepared to voice out and speak out about domestic violence that is happening in their lives. Because what we know is that domestic violence thrives in silence. Now on our panel today, we've got Debato Maibi from the Northwest. Debato, can you hear me and would you greet our listeners?
Thank you very much, DSG. I can hear you clearly. Dumelang sanibonane apsheni hello nda madume ke se Africa. Lina la ka ke nna Debato Maibi ke tswa mo Bokoni Bophirima mo ngaka modiri molema mo Mahikeng. I'm the coordinator of GBV Desk mo Northwest Province mo EFF. We as the EFF, we are the voice of the voiceless. Thank you very much.
Ke a leboga. Again, mo paneleng ya rona today, re na le Osdoli. Osdoli, ke kopa o dumedise bareetsi ko gae.
Dumelang, o buang ke Doli, Montsiwa mo Mafikeng. Nna ke tlile mo ka kganya case ya ka ya rape, le e ke leng victim mo go yone.
Ke a leboga. Re bose re be le Oslesang. Oslesang, ke kopa o dumedise bareetsi and wa mogelegile to our show.
Melang bareetsi, o buang ke Lesanso Kopa Motse mo Northwest ngaka modiri molema. Thank you.
Okay, Lesang re go amogela. Re buse gape re be le on our panel as well, we do have Lulama Memela. Lulama Memela is one of the consultants who is working on the EFF National Gender-Based Violence Help Desk. Lulama, welcome, and can you hear me?
Thank you very much, DSG, for having me present in this panel. My name is Ululama. I am from Gauteng here in Johannesburg in the EFF headquarters. Thanks for having me.
Now, if you have just tuned into the show today, as the EFF will be challenging and speaking and discussing the issue of domestic violence, which is faced with so many families in South Africa. And also understanding that as a nation, collectively, we must find measures and intervention to be able to assist women and whoever is in a domestic violence so that one would know how and identify when you are in an abusive relationship, and also to know when to leave a dangerous situation. Most of the most of the victims of domestic violence, they usually know something that us, we do not know. Right now, re tlo buisana le Os Lesang. Os Lesang, re a go amogela gape into the show. Ke kopa o bue le rona as bareetsi about situation ya gago ko gae.
Leina la ka ke Lesang Sekopamotse mo ngaka modiri molema. Ke ntse mo relationshiping ke na le 37 years ke na le monna ka re nyalane. So bothata ba ka bo ne ke nile le bonela ba bo thomileng monna ka a nchita. O ile a nchita ga nchita e be le gore a ba tswa mo ntlong a fuduga go nna ko a tshola bana ko teng ko ga go tla gore a lwale. Ga lwala bana ba tshotse le nna ke ga ba mpolela gore ke latele ra bona ska swela ko nageng. So be ka go mo tsaya ke feta ke mo tlhokomela go fitlhella a fole. So ke sa itse gore bolwetse ba neng a le mo go bone e ne le bofeng because ka nako a teng motsadi ya gagwe mama ga gagwe ke mitsa mama e le mama ga ene re wa ka o na le teng ka nako a teng. And then re wa ka treatment a nna eno o ne a ifitlha ba e kenya mo di-plastiking ke sa kry di-container tsa teng gore o ka tswa a tshwerwe eng. A tla gore one day ke tsamaye le ene ke first go tsamaya le ene e ne le motho o ganang go tsamaya le nna ko sepetlele ga ke tshwantse ke mo ise ke sa itse gore why o pata eng gore ke mo ise ko sepetlele. One day ka foster ka nkane ka ya le ene ko sepetlele. A ke tsena ko sepetlele ga na le doctor e nngwe e mpolelela gore o ne a mo kwaletse lekwalo la gore a tle le mosadi ya gagwe mo sepetlele. So ena ga ka mfa lekwalo leo a ba go lefa nyatsi ya neng a nna le yone lekwalo leo nna sa mphelone. Go bofelong ga ke cancelwa ke fetsa go cancelwa ke ga ke itemogela gore bolwetse ba na le bone setse a bontsentse go setse go le late wa yona. So ka nna yalo mo situationeng eo ba try ba cancela ka nna betere nyana go ntse go ya ke ithutile fela. Yaanong yana ke emetse fela gore bana ba gole because ka nako bongwana ke ne ba satsane ba le bannyane and ke tshwene le dithulaganyane ka nako a teng ba satsane ba le ko primary. No yana ba godile ba isa bo ma grade 11 grade 12. So no yana o simolotse ka gore wa bereka so no yana o kgona go taka di-take away wa ja fela bosigo a ntse a ntšhebile ebile bana ba ka ba bangwe ba kudugile because of modumo fitlheleng a omana mo teng ga ntlo. Bana ba ineile naga ba ithuba banyana go setse o yuana wa moshimane ene ke dila le ene mo teng ga ntlo. Yaanong ga tla o ka kry-a e le gore o tla ka take away o e ja le ene o batla go etsa that letlho mo ngwaneng wa ka o phuka ngwana ka gore a ntlhoe ene ga go kgonagale ka gore ke ngwana ke ga gona gore a ka ntlhoa because ke sa etsa niks wa yona. Ke sone se se ke itemogelang sone. Yaanong go na le ngwana a gage o mongwe o ke mitsa stepchild sa ka o ke mo fitlhetseng ka ene. Ga ke bua yana o ntlhabile ka thipa mo teng ga leitlho ke na le mmaka ke o mo leitlhong ka November ka di 11 ke ga ntlhaba ka thipa o tsuba di-truck. So ngwana o ga kgalemelo ga te sepe ntate wa ha batle ngwana ga ga kgalemelo mo rata the way. So ke ile ka bula case a ke butse case ya ka e feletse fela mo moyeng ga ke a go botsisisa gore go tlang gore ngwana a sa tshwarwa ba re papa ga go mo ntsheditse beile mo ntsheditse tšhelete ka kone. So ga ke mmotsa gore why a ntshitse beile so ra o mana mo teng ga ntlo feleletsa mpolela re ke ngwana ga ge le ene wa mo rata nna ke motsa safety ya ka nna ifoka ifo gora gore nna so tlholong rata a bua gore ke motho setsa modumo ke ga e le gore yana go a starta gore itse ka kganya gore nna se tlholo ke batla gore ke nne gaufi le ngwana wa gagwe a ska bapisa a mpapisa le ngwana wa gagwe a nne kwa nnang teng because o na le ntlo ene ngwanong. Yaanong ke ga simolola go ipolela gore a ka se tlhola nthekela dijo because of gore nna ga ke batle ngwana wa gagwe.
All right. Ke a leboga gagolo Os Lesang and ke maswabi gagolo about seemo sa gago, your situation. e o iphitlhelang o le ka teng ga yona at this moment. Pelo ya ka e botlhoko gagolo. As we have heard from Oslesang that she is in a very abusive relationship whereby she has been married to this man for 37 years. And this man has started cheating, and this man is also on taking medication, and she has a disease, and the man came back and infected her with the disease. Now Oslesang is living in this situation, as many of women in South Africa, when you are faced with the domestic violence that is happening at home, because we would find that most women are dependent on the husband financially. They are not working. It becomes difficult for them to leave and go start a life somewhere else, because they find that it is very challenging. There are no proper setups which have been put by the government to assist our women when they are in a domestic violence situation. Her story is very heartbreaking in terms that even the stepson has stabbed her in the eye, and when she went and opened a case, the husband went and bailed the child. This is one of the millions of the situation that most South African women face in the relationship. Oslesang, she has faced physical abuse. She has also faced emotional abuse. She has also faced verbal abuse. Now, Oslesang, se ke batlang go se itse gagolo is that lebaka tona le le go etsang gore right now e be ile gore o dutse ka mogare ga lenyalo le, o sa tsamaye wa ya go gae wa yo batla thuso, e ka ba lebaka ke eng?
Ko ge bagolo ba go ba tlhokofetse ke setse le bo malome ba ka fela. So bo malome ba ka ke batho ba bangwe fela ba ba imelang. A se na sepela ga go bua le bone. A ba tsere sepema sa ke batho ba dula mo dikaleng ba no majalo. So yaanong monna ka tsara advantage ya gore wa itse gore nka se kgone go boela go gae because of ga gona le peace go gae.
Okay. Now, Oslesang, she is mentioning to us that she cannot be able to go back home, because one of the main fundamental and a very question that most people who do not understand domestic violence and are often asking women who are abused is that, why don't you leave your partner? Why are you at home and sitting with a partner who constantly beats you up? One of the challenges, as Oslesang has told us, is that she cannot go back home because her parents had passed on. The only people that are left in the family are the uncles who are using alcohol on a daily basis. She is basically saying to us that she does not have anywhere to go. And one of the issues as South Africans that we need to be able to start looking into is the issue of the NGOs. The government has stated and has spoken in so many of the issues when it comes to social issues of women that are facing, that there are NGOs and there are shelters that are there to welcome the women. Oslesang, ke batla go botsa gore e kile wa leka go batla one of the home or the shelter tseo go dulang basadi ko tsone wa yo batla thuso?
I guess ke ile fela ka di-social workeng ke a go batla thuso ko di-social workeng. So di-social worke ga ba re file appointment Monday, re ne re le ko teng on Monday. Ke ne ke ile ko teng ba file appointment ya gore re kopane le ene re o Mantaga ba tlo go bua le ene. O ba reetsa re ene ga ana nako ya go tshameka di-game mo mmerekong wa bereka. So yaanong ke ba botsa gore ka gore ntate wa re ga ana nako ya go tshameka ene mo mmerekong wa gagwe, ba mpolelela gore ga gona sepe se ba ka se etsang ga gana wa gagwe. So be ke tswa fela ba tlogetse fela ya.
All right. Ke a leboga Oslesang. Now, the story of Oslesang is happening. And if you have just tuned in, today on our show, we are dealing with domestic violence. Domestic violence, as all we might know, it's an intimate violence, whereby it's very confusing to most people, because most of the abusers who are abusing their partners, they first want to isolate you and they want to control you, and they will start by telling you what to wear, where to go, how to eat, not to put makeup, not to even visit your friends. Some of these abusers, they would even tell you you must stop working so that you can be able to be powerless and depend on them. And one of the issues that Osle-san has also spoken about is the issue of the children. Most women who are in an abusive relationship, and what we also want, we must be able to know as the community, is that abuse, it affects everyone, all race, all religion, all educational level. And most women are faced with the challenge of, when I leave this marriage, this abusive relationship, and I've got kids with this man, who is going to look after the children? Because as a woman, you fear that if I leave this marriage, I'm going to leave my children with this abusive man. What is going to happen to my children at that time? And we would find that most of the family courts, when it comes to issues of filing for custody of the children, because most of the time you are not working and you cannot be able to support your children, you will find that the court will rule in favor of the man who has financial stability. Now, on our panel, as I've told you, we are also joined by Lulama Mailola. She is one of the consultants into our National EFF Gender-Based Violence Help Desk, which the Gender-Based Violence Desk of the EFF is operating 24 hours a day. It is an establishment that is being brought to EFF that is going to be an immediate intervention and immediate response to be able to assist women to deal with their issues, and to also offer support, and to also offer legal experts and advice. Lulama, thank you very much again for joining us. Can you be able to explain and share with us about the numerous calls that you are receiving from women, especially pertaining to domestic violence?
DSG, we've been facing numerous calls here in the call center because we are online 24/7 trying to assist as many women as we can. In most cases, we get women that want to find out more about child maintenance, how they can get child maintenance from their spouse. And the most challenging issue is women in relationships that are being abused and they do not know that they are abused. Such a story is Her story is something that most women are facing mostly. When women call in, they want to know how to leave, which help they can get, and where to go. And in South Africa that we're facing, they've tried to go to police stations and they're not getting any help. So in terms of our family court, what we advise is we make sure that we have communication. We make sure that we communicate with people from the maintenance court, people from the family court, to advise women further of the challenges that they're facing. Because most husbands, when they want to retaliate and hurt the woman, they want to hurt these women through their children. So such challenges are very hurtful because now women do not have lawyers. And in most cases, you find that the husbands that want to hurt them are moneyed, and therefore they're able to be presented in court by attorneys. And women do not know, there are labor courts, there are legal aid, there are pro bono that help for free. You just go in there, or you call, or you send a call back, and they call you back, and they try to assist you. So women need to know there is help out there. And we are also, as the department of the GPV, trying to liaise with these departments, such as your legal aid, to be able to assist women that really do need help from our help desk.
All right, thank you very much, Lulama, for sharing that. So what we basically got from Lulama is that from the EFF Gender-Based Violence Call Center, which is operating 24 hours, she has shared with us that they are receiving numerous calls of women Most of them that they've encountered lately is women who are seeking help in terms of maintenance, because women have spoken and they came forward and said when they need to leave their domestic relationships, and they feel the need and they've acknowledged that they are being abused, because they've identified that they are abused in various ways. Like we said, that domestic violence is an intimate violence. Some women in South Africa, you might be facing verbal abuse. Verbal abuse, it is mainly when your partner will be able to say cruel words to you, such as you are stupid, or belittle you and tell you that you are worthless, and tell you that you are nothing, and also tell you that when I found you, you were nothing. I found you as nothing on the street. I married you. Your family, it's nothing. And most of the women, once you keep telling them such words like this, they start believing that. And we want to bring to your attention that it is not your fault as a woman that you fell in love with a man who at this moment wants to destroy you and wants to kill you. Because what we have also heard from most of the stories with the women that we are engaging with and assisting in the call center is that they are scared to leave their relationships, but we want to tell them that help is out there. There are so many facilities that you can get help. And as the EFF, we are also here to be able to help you. We will be able to support you all the way that you will be going through, and we will be able to assist you with legal experts and be able to assist you in anything that you might be looking needing assistance with. And also go paneleng ya rona right now re na le Ostoli le yena ke o mongwe wa basadi ba ileng gore ba hlekefetswa, and story sa gagwe se utlwisa bohloko, ba le ke tla nka sebaka se ke fe ene e bang yena a buang le rona. Ostoli, dumela gape ko show ya rona, wa nkutlwa? Ostoli, ne ke kopa ore tlhalosetse seemo sa gago le ka tsela eo o ka thabelang gore re go thuse ka yona.
Ke ne ke le engaged to obutung video tebo. E rumetse bagolo ko gae a re wa nyala. Then it's a date e fitla a ba postpone a date. It's just not postpone a date. Tiro ile tshwantsane nne ka date ena e beile tiro be sa dule bagolo ba ga batla ba re no motho na bua maka hana dio tsanyelang ka tsone. So after mo belong nang re bua ka phone re tlhola ntse re bua mo go yone beke eo ya bobedi eo ne ke mogela ka skin the expenses sa the way o ntse postpone the date ka teng ke dirisa tšhelete e ntsi. So ne re dumalane na batang thare tsa tšhelete e bileng e ba ngwana ya stationary re dirise mo dilong tse ke tla ke go e busetsa after tiro. So ke mona ke dikolo di gaufi le go bula tšhelete le no re ke dirise e kae a ba re kopana Saturday ko tropong be ke kopana le ene ko tropong Saturday no a ba re ke di basic then the rest ke tla dira ka month end no re tsara mo shop re ka dilo re fetsa go reka dilo nthare ka nna dole ke batla re go bua ka kgang ele ya tiro batho ba go gae ke bone ba ntumeleditseng dilo di teng entle ke ile dilo tse dintsinyana di batla re buela mo distrateng like mo tropong ke kopa re ke go dula hase then the way na le ka teng o nna ha ke tsena ka gore ka re ke motho a ka nna le mokgatelelo ya stress or a tinyegile or na sana the way ke motho a tseng ka teng ka maka ka no kopa tsena mo cafe mo dile fase go bua a ke la pile ke go tlhela ke buela dilo tsa ka le wena mo tropong go tsamaya go tlhula. So ra tsamaya ya ga ya go tlung a tsana go tlung o go ene go ntlunya gagwe a tsana go tlung this man wa bua dilo tsa gagwe and ha ke di sheba dintsi fela ya ka bagolo ba ga ba bua gona nnete mo. So be ke mara ke re tseng ga ba bedi fa ga gona bagolo ba ga gona bagolo ba ga ba nnete mo tafeleng re kgone go bona gore sa ba kganye ka gore wena o batlileng go nyala ga se nna ke leng ka re nyalana ba kganye go thusa ha ile gore sa tsana le mo kganyeng ya gago a still santsana a bua maka be ke mara ke tseng why no sa ke tsena o ska tsenya bagolo ba ka mo teng o ska re ha wa ka o bua ke tsa le bagolo. So be ke mara ke tseng na the way ke bona ka teng wa ke le ka so se stone so ke tsara what's next so tla nka ke tsanga so So now I'm so that's really for no for because how na need and this thing is so stone so sinyana. Simbolvile batsadi simbolvile le community no go le tiro go ga e dona ne go emetse le tiro ya lenyalo ga ya dula. So still in yana ga ba tlhompolela nnete go dira ga still santsane o bua mala. So now I'm done ka relationship. This guy I am a lotla go. I wait again before ga gana go go bala le nna ka ra ke go robala le nna ke sa dule wena. And tsaya ka dikgoka fo lo lo ile se ba kang go ka diaparo. Then dira sona ba tla go se dira go bala le nna. Yo la fetsa mo ka tsa diaparo ka apara ka go dira seno se batla go pompolele ke tswe ke tsamaya. No ha o tlo go tsamaya dula foto ka tswela ke se ke buang se ke go pompolele ke tsamaya cause lo go ga e ga ba itse gore ke fana ba itse gore ke tle toropong. So di mala se ba ke se nna ke bua mo le ile a yena a ntsa gape ka diaparo a mphusetsa go ka moreng mo go ya bobedi o mphushitse a nthara nna ke ikapole ile ke santsane ke ikapole be ke lela a ba tsa diaparo tsela di goga ba mphusetsa mo godimo ga beta a go bala le nna for the second time ka re okay o dirile phato wa gago e sharp ke go pompolele ke ga this time how tsamaya cause taxi sa go ga lona buyana ke itse gore ga diyo wa go ya kae ka re mpolele ke na le di-relatives ke tla bona gore ke ya kae ka ke ka lala le wena a gana lo tsela di kgora ka re ke kopa go a toilet a gana a dula ya le bosigo ga ba ba pele tsana bosigo a sa tshube light a se a dula mo ntlong mo la ye a mpolela go wena ga ke la nna le wena le bontshwa ga mo le ditlo ga gona gore ka kgaogana nna le wena ga nka ke ka kgona go bona mo matsatsing a tlang ke bona ona le monno mongwe e yona ga ke ka ntsa sentle ebile nka ke ka dumelana go nna le wena re kgaogana ke hala nna le wena mo re ntshwa re di phakela ile ke tla bona gore o serious ke ha tsa dipilisi na le dipilisi dingwe tsa di na ro tshodi ke dikulo tsa dipilisi wa dinwa tsotlhe a tsa botlolo ya molemo a yeng a dula fatshe mo ka re wa lapanyana ya ka tswella ka bua le ena ka ke a mo shebisa ke mo ke re ke kopa nna ganele mama ka wa lwala ene ona ganele ngwana ke nna ibile ke papa ga ke papa mo go yena this thing e o e dira mama ka ga itsamisi ke a moka le nna ke o monyane mo go nna ngwana ke go diragalang ka ene ga o ka mpola a eo ga ke kgathalle masika ga go tla sala bona gore eng ka mma go le ngwana gago ene o ntse o tswelle o bua ka mma go le ngwana gago ke tla simolla ka bona ke ba bola be ka go felletsa ka wena mole a ntha ba ga mabete go bale cause ene wa utlwa go o lapile a ke pagame ka no be ke maka example ka something ke enta ke ga e ka motho a go tsholetse dijo a ba go tshella poison mo teng a ba go difa a go difa mo shebile a wa go difa a ba ga nka ke o fetsa go mpolela gore wa go mpolaya o bo ke pagame bete ke go gale a tlhaloganya ke tla bibele a ga ke sa mola dosi a ba kita ka tlapa so ngita ka tlapa be ke ya hemela ke hankga la ntsang kgamile a nka pole dia para go bala le nna gape go bala le nna le mo fetsang teng ntse a ke tsene mo dikobong kankana ka dula ha se ka ile se mpa mo go ba le wenteng ka dula ka se ka go ba nkita ka tlapa ka go ba ke be ke se ka mo le a ba re wa thulamela a re ha go thulamela ke sa thulamela ke roba ba nna ka se ka kgona go roba le ke ntse ke la mo a di bile ke a motena ntse ke tla tloga ke mira go a change di mind ba gane go roba le ke lela mo la ke mo rasetsa ba feletsa a ga ke tsora na thulametse mo pira galang ke dula fela teng ile mo le maphakelanyana a tla ke tsamela bo ma 5 wa tswa mo dikobong ntsha ya go tsa ka fitla sa mo ga ke apara go tsamaya nna intention ka ne ke ipoleletse once fela ke tswa ga ke go tsamaya le go tsamaya teng ke a go sia o tla go for batho ba leng gaufi so ile ke apara borukga bana tleke a pola botlhobo ke be ke ga ba botsa bogoga a robala le nna gape a sena go bala le nna a ba tsaya thabo ya extension a bo fella go dibala ke a ba bo fella mo thamong ya a mphanga be ke tsenya matsogo mo teng ga thabo ile a re go ga be ke tsenya matsogo a re go ga ka tsenya matsogo and I serious for that time as la bua se go di ke a bua a sa re ya a tsaya thabo ya mo thamong ya
Now, Osdoli, ke maswabi gagolo o saka situation
after thabo eo ne a ba go ga thabo ele ampaya an khamela mo godimo ga bete ne ke move ke dipolla ke goa ba goga mmele wa ka ba baya mo fatshe ba tlhogo mo betheng ankgama o re ankgama to an extent gore ke sa tlhole ke bona le ene fela ana face a sa tlhole ke sa tlhole kgona go goa ke kgone go metsamaya ke sa kgone go ya sepe o utlwa le mmele wa ka o krempa ke bona go yana o serious koe le ha bona gore a se tlhole ke kgona go dira sepe ha ntse matsogo a gagwe mo lebe ke goga letsogo la ka na gatile ka mangwele mo dimpeng be ke goga letsogo be ke goga monwana o wa gagwe ke tsa sena ke go goga ke la se letsogo teng for ke ga ke busa tlhogo fatshe be ke nama mo fatshe ke be ke lela ke mmotsa ke re why a tshwantsana tiro yana gore in this relationship e lekile ka bojotlhe ga se mo direle phoso epe why a tshwantsana tirele bolegi bontsinyana ke moga yana ke re ke go dirileng ko o buile maaka ka lenyalo but still ke kgonne go fa chance ya go reetsa le no ya hana go reetse ke eng ka re ke le ka go tlhalosetsa ga o reetse ke go dirileng ke ka mmotsa a kwa go ntena go didimala a banthare ntse ke a bantsha tšhelete mo kgetseng ya gagwe a kopo ntla tseng ba 20 rand ke be ke ntsha 20 rand ke mo efa mo tlhaloganya ka ke ipolelela gore this person gore gore wa bona gore ga kgone go mpola so maybe o akanya go mphisa ke akanya fela ke mo ena 20 rand a ba re wa mpofa matsogo le maoto ke re go poska mpofa ba tla mphitlhela teng tsa mo ya go yang teng o tla mphitlhela teng le go poska lotlele ba ntha ke go lotla lo tlo sa lo tsa mo ke re go poska lotlele a tla go promise ke wa go ba ke itse ra o tswa wa go mfotlele lo tlo ka halong ba ke go tshwarisa ka go promise ke ma ke ga le gore ga o dumeletsa difounu sa tele beke ya ka o tsamaye ka tsona a re shopo e mo gating ya ja ka gagwe a batso a ke tla go shebile ke tla ke mo gating and ha ba tla go ntekeletsa o tla bo o tswa ke be ke dula a batso ke se ke go mela ka feste ke bona a se mo shopong ke be ke tsa dia fa ke apara ka go mela gape ke bona a se ke tsa difounu se le na sa desire le beke be ke di tsaya ke di tsenya mo bekeng ke ke bona gore ha bona le be ke tswa ke sia I'm sure ke sena ke feta matlo a mabedi ke ha phone ke sa ga phone ka sia ka taboga ka feleletsa ke tsene ka the crossing ka kara taxi ka pagama ka be ke tsena mo cafe e nngwe yana ne ke re ke founela go gae ke founela o tswa kone ke ka se ka founela mama direct for condition e na le mo go yona ke founela ke tsela o tswa kone ke ile gore gae go motseng ke founela ngwana mongwana re bereka le ene go crash le ene ga ke mo grade ke mo sendela SMS gore a bolelle batho ba go gae go motho le tsang tsang ke nepile bosigo go le tsaro le tselena ka dikgoka so nka se kgone go tla gae cause ya itse gore wa go mfollowa go gae then for ke ha o buto mo na le teng mo cafe mo a ba mpotsa walla o se mathata go eng be ke mara ke shapa ba ke pompola mathata go eng be ke mmolelela ba ra re go police station ene ke itse gore ha tla ntse morago ba go ntšhaba go police station o go reng keng ya rona ya di-taxi be ga motho wa go ntšhabela ene wa go tlhasetsa go ja ba re a re ba tsamaya le nna ke teng mone ka kgona go bula case teng a tshwarwa ke tsa sena go tshwara a tswa bail ka February a tswa bail le go tseng bail ga gagwe a mfounela a bona phoso a re kopa ke mo itshwarele ke mo fe second chance and all that so ba bolela o se wa ka o mongwe ke cousin a rona ngwana ga ka mmolelela se se diragetseng le gore this day a reng go ya ka mafoko a cousin a ka nthare wetseng mongwe le mongwe o deserve a second chance so la ka ipona phoso mo itshwarele but no go le thata mo go nna no go le thata gonne ke o ntse ka ne ke batla mpolele gore why ha ile gore ke a mo itshwarela a mpolele gore why ana tshwantsana tire yana but if la gore ke a faila if ever ke tlogela this guy ka condition e le gore dilo mention le tsa gore ke tsholle kgetsi if la gore ke a faila but still sa batle go bua la ntse re buisana ka phone wa ntse ipolela gore ipona phoso ke mo fe chance ke re ga ke ha tsene mo kganyenya gore so se ne se mo gogela gore a ntse so se se yana then be go tlana kwa gore ke mmotse yana ke utlwile yana ke o mana ke mara ke re tseng o busy wa re ke itshwarele and all that tla ke le go tropong o ntatela o ntse bua dilo tse tsa go tsholle kgetsi ke go pompolela ntse ke wa no ntira yana ha tsene mo kganyeng eo be ke mara ke tseng for mo yana ke tlo go block se ke batla go bua le wena then for this guy a ba re wa go ntirela protection order e se ke gore ke protection order ya eng
Okay.
ke ya go tropong ke tsena go tropong ga ntse wa followa ke sa itse gore yang Itse ke ke tsena mo shopong ya mo toropong mo ke yo o tlhaga ga o bitsa cousin ka ne ke na le cousin ka mo go bompile tse dole ke batla go bua le cousin ka wa mpitsa ha mpolele o ke bidwa kena ke tsena ke ena mpolele gore o sekeng o tlo go bakana le nna le lepodisi le le tshwereng case ka o tlo go risa di-medieng and all the time so se ka tsone so bile wena dole wa re ke gore e pile ke ya marontso tso tlhola o bua le nna mo phone ke tlo go tsaya this thing ke turn against wena go court.
Okay. All right. Osdoli, ha ke mametse situation ya gago e botlhoko gagolo because it is clearly evident gore you have experienced all the various forms of domestic violence. Ne ke kopa go botsa gore e ka be ha o butse case ya gage maponisa ba ile ba go isa go spetlele go etsa the proper examination ga o bula case ya rape and a court date ya this guy in
Ke di dirile tsotlhe ba first time ba tshotse dilo tse ne ba di tsaya go sepetlele like letswe la gage di kgobalo yalo ke ne ka tsamaya mo social working e nngwe ntse e dira yalo di-cotton tse di seka di simotse ko molopo magistrate no yana e ko original.
All right.
Isa ka original so ka la boraro ka di 27 e tla bo e boelela gape because last time ka di 3 tsa December ne se ka bus ya go court na se ka last week so gape ya se ka this week.
Okay. Now, when listening to Dolly's story, it is one of the most severe case of domestic violence because in her story, Dolly was raped by the partner, and the partner had raped her several times, and this man has also promised that she is going to marry Dolly, and throughout the process, he was lying about that. And also Dolly was also kidnapped because the man spoke and told Dolly to come to where he was staying and locked the house throughout the night and raped Dolly for several times. And this man is also intimidating and threatening to kill Dolly, whereby he even took a wire in the house and tried to hang Dolly with it. It is with the mercy of God that today Dolly is here with us in our show to be able to share her story. And if this sounds familiar to you, what is happening in your life right now, you might be experiencing domestic violence. We are bringing this show as the EFF Gender-Based Violence Help Desk because we want to bring awareness to our communities and also to educate each other for us to be able to know the signs of an abusive relationship and how to leave a very dangerous situation. Because most women, when they are, you've just fallen in love with a guy and you can clearly see that this man starting to speak to you in a rude way. This man will slap you once and will push you, will punch you, will forcefully want to have sex with you. And those are abusive tendencies. And we must be able to see and we must be able to try and seek help because help is out there. There are so many avenues where you can go and to be able to seek help. Because after everything that has happened to Dolly, she managed to run and go to the police station and open a case. And this man was arrested. But unfortunately, he has managed to get out of bail. And those are one of the things that as women in South Africa, we must start having clear discussion with our government that even when you have come and opened a case that I have been violated, I was raped 7 times last night by my partner, and you show the bruises and they've got all the concrete evidence, but still they managed to be able to release that person on bail to go out and still go on the street, intimidate you, stalk you, and also threatens to kill you or even kill your children and your family as well. This is the fear that Dolly is living with right now in the streets in her community, because her perpetrator, the man that has done all these evil deeds to her, is out in bail, and she is going to court next week. So one of the things that Ostoli has also spoken about is the issue that most of these abusers are very good in apologizing. Your husband will beat you tonight in front of the children, will choke you, will rape you, will call you stupid, and do all these things that are related to domestic violence. The following day, this men, they go and buy flowers, they buy chocolates, they come and apologize in front of you, and even claim that I was not aware that I'm doing this. And some of these men, they would even tell you that it's because of my situation and my background where I come from. I was also found in a similar situation like this. And they ask and they plead with you to forgive you. And most women, they fall into the trap of forgiving women, of forgiving men who are threatening their life each and every day. Because what we must also understand as most women in our community and in our society is that the final stage of a domestic violence that you are experiencing at this moment, the most final stage is whereby your abuser will kill you. We are fortunate that Dolly is alive today. She managed to run away. We do have our sisters out there who were in similar situation like this. They fell in love with a guy, got married, but once they got into that space, this man became this evil man and started abusing them. And because they did not know how to go and ask help, where to seek help, and because they felt, because most women also will feel the humiliation that if I go back home after this man has married me, most people in my community are going to laugh at me. My parents, they're going to be humiliated that I just got married as a child last year, but now I'm back. But one of the things as women and as our society, we must teach our children to be able to understand that if you are in a marriage, or you are in a relationship, or you are in a setup that you are being abused, it is better to leave now than when it is late. Also in our panel today, as I said, we are joined by Tebato Maibi. But before we speak to Tebato Maibi, she is one of the gender-based violence help desk in Northwest, because the EFF has established this gender-based violence desk after we have identified that there's a scourge of violence against women. There is war that is waged against women in South Africa. So in all the 9 provinces, we do have the gender desk, where we want women to be able to know that if I am in a domestic violence, I cannot speak with my parents, my friends, my colleagues, or my pastor. You can be able to reach out to our help desk at any EFF regional offices and provincial offices in the 9 provinces and seek help. We are here, we want to support you, and we will stand with you all the way, and we want to tell you that we believe in you and we are here to assist you. Before we do that, we are gonna go to an ad break, and please stay tuned. Welcome back, and if you have just tuned in today on the educational series of the EFF, the Gender-Based Violence Desk, we are speaking about domestic violence. Domestic violence, it is one of the confusing challenges and issue that we are faced with as a nation. And most of the time it is experienced by women and in relationships. And like we said, domestic violence knows no race, no religion, no educational level. It affects everyone, from the children, from the family members, from everybody that loves you. So domestic violence, in most cases, it takes various forms. It takes emotional, psychological, sexual, and also physical pain. So we are joined by Debatso Maibi. She is one of the EFF Gender-Based Violence Help Desk in the province of Northwest. She is also going to share in some of the challenges that they are faced with and some of the issues that the women are coming into the EFF offices and explaining and seeking help. Debatso, welcome. Can you hear me?
Thank you very much, my DSG.
All right.
DSG, what is happening to our women and children is very painful. It's very, very painful. Ever since we have opened the GBV desk in Northwest, I'm facing the challenges. At some point, I can't even sleep at some point. Because today, their problems, they are mine. And experience in the DSG, the way the challenges when coming to the issue of marriage, I can say someone coming to the issue of marriage, they are there because I'm not married, but people they tell us who are married that they said it's hot. It's okay. Sit on the hot plate. If you go back home, they say go back. First of all, when coming to the relationship, basadi barona or basana barona balela the thing that we call it service. I can't leave this person because he is the father of my child. I can't leave this person because we have 10 years together. So it's how our women get hurt most of the time. But what is happening, we need our society to stand up. That's what we need. Our society to stand up and support. You know, if, like for example, DSG, if you can see, if someone abolaidwe, if my brother kills someone, me as his sister, I support him. And I learn to wrong. So we must teach our community, our society to support each other. Before you think about yourself, think about the other person. The pain that this person brought to the family or the pain that this person brought to this person. Some of the women, DSG, they are on wheelchairs today. They are on wheelchairs because of service. Some they are under the graveyard because of service. Some they don't have eyes because of service. Some today they can't speak because of service. They are sitting in a hot kitchen because of marriage, because of lobola, or what people will say when I come back home. They are there because of money. Majority of people who are staying with the men who are rich, but abusive, they are quiet. They are very quiet. People, they get raped. They are quiet about it because, but what if this person kills me back? What if the family of this person doesn't talk to me anymore? Most of our women, DSG, to be for boy. Now I always tell people I grew up with boys. At some point when I grew up, I thought I was a boy. Because I've got this mind of a man. I've got this mind of a man in woman's body. I'm thinking deeper every time. Even if when I see a person, I think deep.
Okay, now Debatso, listening to you speaking, you have indicated that most of our women, the reason they are seated in this abusive marriages and abusive relationship, it is mainly because of the embarrassment, the humiliation, and the shame of going back home and coming back from a failed marriage, but not understanding that your abuser, once he starts abusing you as a woman, irregardless of anything. That person does not regard you as a human being. The moment you are beaten, you are kicked, you are sweat at your marriage, you are raped in your marriage, you need to stand up and walk out of that marriage, irregardless of the shame and the humiliation. Because once you are beaten once in your marriage and you didn't know that this man is an abuser, the second time he does that, you must know that you are a volunteer for that man. Every time when he has issues and he's angry and he comes home, he finds you are seated there and you are volunteering that you can punch me. One of the things Tibato that you have raised is the issue ya our parents, when we leave home as women, especially in our cultures, they will tell you now, Lulama, looking into the issue that Debato has brought forward into our attention, understanding that what are things that people would be able to identify that I'm in an abusive relationship. Lulama, I think we're having technical error. I cannot hear you clearly. Can you hear me?
Yes, DSG, can you hear me clearly? Yes, DSG. In most cases, the reason why the signs actually, DSG, of men abusing women are these DSG. Most men do not want their wives or the girlfriends to have friends because they are afraid the same women are going to be able to tell their friends and not hide. So what they do, they try to hide them. They try to keep them away from the families. Once a man starts now depriving you freedom and mandating freedom, they lie to you and say, I do not want you to have friends. They tend to be very jealous. Those are the most important signs that women should know. A man that loves you doesn't deprive you of your family. A man that loves you doesn't deprive you of friends. They let you live.
Okay, now it's fine. One of the reasons that today we, as the EFF, we've decided that we also want to have this series. We wanted to have our guests on the studio today, but due to the COVID regulation, that is the reason we are having this webinar series. Our people are joined in through Zoom. And Tebatom, before we come to the end of our show today, what is your last message to all the women out there who are facing domestic violence?
Thank you very much, DSG. Go basadi botlhe ba mo Afrika Borwa kana ke re lehatshe ka bophara ba ba samaganeng le khobotletso kgotsa tshotlakako e ba e sotlegang mo botshelong re teng rona re le EFF mo North West re teng re le EFF ke nna Tebatso Maibi re na le di coordinator tsa rona mo di sub-region tsa rona tsotlhe le di region tsa rona rena le di coordinator. EFF is there and we are available 24 hours and we are going to help you and we are going to fight this with you till the end. We will never ever really tlogele basadi ba bang ba sotlega re le teng. We are not happy and will never be happy. We are going to struggle on this together. We are going to fight this together. 100% pure. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Debaton. And we had to let go of two of our guests because those are our victims, Os Lesang and Os Doli. As every time when you speak about domestic violence, it can be very much emotional. So we are assisting them and supporting them as they just have told us their story. It's very traumatic for them and we need to bear with them at this moment. And as the EFF, we are committing that we are going to assist them throughout their journey. And we also want to thank them very much for coming forward and speaking out and voicing out and breaking the silence. Lulama, before we go, what is it that makes it difficult for women to leave an abusive relationship? Lulama, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, DSG. What was your question again?
What is it that makes it difficult for women to leave their abusive relationship, and how when they got the courage to leave, where should they go to seek help, and where would they start in terms of reporting their abusive situation?
DSG, the most important thing that women should know is that they're not alone. You see, once they know, Guti, they're not alone, there's women out there that are experiencing the very same thing. It's talk to somebody. It's very important to speak to your family members. If you can't speak to your family members, speak to your friends. Say something to someone. See, with the GBV desk that we have, we are saying we are just a call away. We are an SMS away. If you need help, we are here. Now, with families, families need to start now supporting the daughters and children, because once you are a mother and you turn away your child, now you're turning your child to be killed out there. We are experiencing high volume and high levels of women being killed every day. It is enough. We are tired as women. We are saying we cannot tolerate this anymore. And with the justice system, we are pleading with Abu Begite. They must be able to have access. Women must be very comfortable in coming to the police station. Women must be very comfortable in speaking to someone inside the police station and say, I need help, and police must act on it immediately. Because another thing that women are afraid of is that when they do go to the police stations, they get turned away. That is the most biggest issue that women are facing. When women call us, when we do ask them, did you go to the police station? Did you report? They say they do report, but nothing is done. So our justice system has to change in that regard. The protection orders, the magistrate need to now tighten the laws and now do something about women being killed every day, DSG.
All right, now, thank you very much, ladies. I want to take this opportunity and say thank you very much to all our victims and our survivor, Os Doli and Os Lesang. As the EFF, we are going to support them throughout the day. And we also want to thank our coordinator, Tebato Maibi from the Northwest, to being a help and a supporting structure to the women in that province, and also to the regional coordinators and sub-regional coordinators of GBV. And also we want to thank our call center consultant who are dealing with these issues on a daily basis, because we understand as consultant as well is that when you are listening to such traumatic issues and stories that women are facing and seeking help to the EFF, it can also affect you as a person. Even right now myself, listening to all the stories, the reality that most women are facing in South Africa, I become very much emotional, and I ask myself that what is it that can be done. But one of the things that we have realized is that speaking out in terms of domestic violence, it helps. Seeking out help, it helps. And also knowing that it is not your fault that you are in an abusive relationship. It is not your fault as a woman that your husband, your partner, your fiance, your boyfriend is abusing you. What you need to do, you need to be able to start speaking, seek help. Speak to anybody, speak to everybody. Help is out there. And as families, when we have sisters and we have our children, our daughters who have went out and got married, when they come home and they tell us that my marriage is not working, no matter if the husband can be rich, the husband can be a millionaire or something, if your daughter's life is at risk, if your daughter's life is at a dangerous situation, you must welcome your children and back home and be a supportive structure and support them in each and everything that we are doing, because most women are dying because of money. You are married to a rich man. This man is abusing you and beating you. You've got bruises. Your ribs have been broken. You are constantly admitted into hospital each and every week. You are depressed. You are anxious. You cannot even focus at work. It's affecting your health. It's like being in a relationship where you are held at a gunpoint each and every day. Even when you want to go and shower, somebody's pointing a gun at you. When you want to go and you want to go and sit and watch TV, somebody is holding a gun on your head every day. And what we also need to understand is that abusers, they have a tendency of isolating their victims. If you as a family, you see that your sister started dating this man, but your sister or your friend has changed, you can't call them, you don't see them anymore, they started in their behavior, the way they dress, the way they do things have become abnormal, you must reach out, because as a collective, as a unity, as the community and the society at large, we need to be able to tackle domestic violence head on, and we must be able to find intervention that are going to start working. And parents, when you give off your children to marriage, baba nyala, baba nteta mahadi, we must also look deep down within our culture that this thing ya gore libitla la mosadi ke bogadi, it's killing our children, because when they leave home you tell them that re tseya tšhelete ya batho, re tseya magadi a batho. Now you cannot come back, you must go and die in that marriage, even if your child is being abused and they are seeking help. Those are conversations as a black nation we must start speaking and discussing, as awkward as they may be, because we are tired of finding that a man has killed and raped and stabbed a woman. The stats are getting high. The stats of femicide in South Africa, it's getting high, because it starts from a slap, a punch, it ends up being, you are being stabbed, you are being killed, you are being choked, and several things that can happen to you. Lastly, the aim of this show is to be able to educate each other. If you have been listening and you've just tuned in and you've been listening to the stories of our victim, we are actually speaking to you. Because most people right now, as they are seated at home, they are in abusive relationship. So with those words, I want to say thank you, and thank you very much for tuning in. Please stay tuned in again, as we'll be having other several topics on the EFF Gender-Based Violence Help Desk. Thank you, and thank you very much. Gamma.